making a decision on Kyler Murray?
Well, mid-March, Kevin, would be an artificial deadline because that's when the last of his guaranteed money is due. He's got nearly $40 million in guarantees on the books. But I expect things to heat up in the coming weeks, leading up to the NFL Combine in 2 weeks when the Cardinals and Murray can sit down with his agent, Eric Burkhart, and really assess the situation and figure out best course of action. Because really the plan is if they can get somebody to cover some of those guarantees and offset the books for Arizona a little bit, that incentivizes them to do a deal. And Murray, I'm supposed to be looking for a winner if it does come to that. I don't think the book on Arizona and him staying is totally closed. If it comes to that, you got to think teams that need a quarterback that have a winning roster, like a Minnesota comes to mind, will be attractive to some of these type of quarterbacks.
Murray was sidelined early December for the remainder of the season after dealing with a midfoot sprain he sustained in Week 5. Now, he's not the only first-round quarterback whose future is literally unknown. Who could be on the move? We'll find out in this quarterback carousel. What can you tell us about Tua Tagovailoa?
Yeah, it's going to keep spinning, Kevin. Tua Tagovailoa has $54 million in guarantees, and the Dolphins are nearing a decision on how to handle that. They eat the money and trade him and hope they get some offset language if somebody else pays them. Do they release them, or do they keep and restructure that money to save salaries, cap space? Most people I've talked to around the league do expect that they work a trade, try to find a partner, and essentially move on and start new. Malik Willis, the free agent, would be a name to watch with Miami. A lot of ties there to former Green Bay Packers people. And you got Aaron Rodgers. So both sides, the Steelers and Rodgers, have been open to a return from what I'm hearing. Now, Aaron Rodgers tends to take his time this time of year and what he decides, so we could be waiting months before we get any sort of clarity. But the Steelers know they're in a bridge situation a little bit. You know, they're going to look hard at the draft. They've done a lot of homework on the 2026 draft to potentially find a passer. They have Will Howard, the backup, who they like, young draft pick from last year. But at least for 1 year under Mike McCarthy, they're going to explore bringing back Rodgers. They like how the experiment went.
Keep in mind, Rodgers just turned 42 years old in December. Jeremy's going to come back in a few minutes to talk more. And following the developing story, it's not just about the quarterbacks this offseason. What about the men who chase them? Max Crosby's Vegas future in doubt. New head coach Clint Kubiak says he wants the all-pro edge rusher to stay. Crosby has reportedly said he's not interested in a rebuild. Jeremy Fowler back with us as promised. What's the latest with Crosby's future?
Well, the latest is this issue is at the Raiders' doorstep. And I spoke to a team source who believes that the chances of Crosby coming back are relatively small right now because the team needs draft capital. They know it. They're in a rebuilding situation. They have to replenish their defense. They could get a lot for Max Crosby. The interest is already robust, even if informal or kind of checking on the situation. There are a lot of teams that are going to be involved, and they're going to need a huge package, probably multiple first-round picks, or at least something close to that would be the framework for Las Vegas to rebuild. But the interest is there. He has not requested a trade, to be clear, and the Raiders are open to him playing there still. It's just at the end of the day, that's probably where they'll settle down. And you got A.J. Brown. So this has been percolating for a while, where multiple league execs have maintained with me that they expect Philadelphia to entertain trade offers for Brown at some point. There are too many teams that need a number one receiver. You could see it all year that he was frustrated, seemed unhappy with the offense and the direction. They have a new offensive coordinator. Maybe that changes. But for the most part, the Eagles, and who are very aggressive, GM Howie Roseman, can get a lot of return for A.J. Brown and build around some other players.
And let's stay in the division. The Cowboys, they're expected to franchise tag George Pickens, according to Adam Schefter. This can happen at any time between the window of February 17th and March 3rd. What's the possibility that the Cowboys just trade Pickens?
Well, the Cowboys are going to be nimble here, but they do want to keep Pickens, and they hope long-term if they can reach a deal. The problem is they're already paying CeeDee Lamb $34 million a year. He's going to want something close to that on a new deal. So to pay two receivers $30+ million per year is pretty unprecedented in the NFL. I mean, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase in Cincinnati, that's the closest model. So Dallas is expected to tag him, and then they'll go from there. But this is a chance to get messy, Kevin, because Pickens is not the type to just run in and sign the tag and be happy with it. He's going to play this out. We've seen this song and dance where a player doesn't sign the tag, they stay away.